Thrill is gone away. Thrill is gone, baby. Thrill is gone away. You know you done me wrong. You'll be sorry someday. Thrill is gone. Thrill is gone away from me. Thrill is gone, baby.
I told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told the plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 pigs. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I'm in Cali every week, I go hard. Bro said he got sour, need that whole yard. I'm chasing turkey bag, you chasing gold yard. Tell the dime we just, we won't go far. Blue sherbet stuff the whole jar. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run into Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, it ain't tragic. From the home I lay down.
Hello, New Haven. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are also streaming live on TuneIn Radio and newhavenindependent.org. We are streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com, New Haven Independent, or just go to your Facebook page, look us up, and hit See First, and that way you get to see all the great programming that we have here on WNHH 103.5. And here we are back again. Cannabis Corner, 4th of July holiday week, I guess.
Yeah.
We're celebrating our...
I feel celebratory today.
We are I've been celebratory.
I've been just figuring since Saturday it's been a holiday.
Yeah,
You know? I'm taking the whole week off.
That's the right attitude.
Well,
Yeah.
and then you got the
our
colors
shades
going.
on.
Yeah, I know.
We got our shades on today. Today's sunglass
We G's
day.
today. We G's
It's so
today.
hot, you know, we got to just keep the sun out of our eyes. It's a beautiful day, though. We're all in a festive mood.
Yes, we are.
A lot
sir.
of good things have happened in the cannabis industry. Not
Yeah.
necessarily in Connecticut.
Yeah.
No, but
we can celebrate
nationwide.
others.
We
you
are
know,
celebrating.
the more
Well,
we
they will
celebrate
affect
others,
us.
it'll come our way.
It'll
yes.
affect us. Some of these things that are going on will affect us.
Yes.
But we want to congratulate Oklahoma. One
Yes.
of the good,
Oklahoma.
Yes, in the Bible Belt.
right. One of the last states you would have expected
Yeah.
to make medical marijuana legal, but they did. They became the 30th state. We're up to 30 states now
Yep.
out of 50. Not bad. We're over the majority. That legalized medical marijuana, and they did a very nice program. I think it's
Yeah.
something that you would be happy with.
I would.
Doctors can prescribe for any ailment they deem
Anything.
necessary.
That's right.
So whether it be cancer, PTSD, whether it be anxiety,
You stub your toe.
yep, and the doctors can prescribe for anything. Right.
That's that Cali
Right.
method.
Well, that is the Cali method. I think
stubbed my toes
Oklahoma
out.
might be a little stricter
Oh,
than
they're going to
Cali.
be strict. But they also
I
have
mean, but truthfully, if you do stub your
Yeah.
toe, there's usually
topical.
inflammation.
Yeah.
And so, using cannabis reduces it's an
100%.
anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
So we say things jokingly, but
yeah. But
Yeah.
it helps
The real
access.
deal.
And the idea is,
I mean, sooner or later, you're going to get to the point where they're literally going to give you a 3-month prescription.
right.
Where you're not a medical marijuana patient. You're just getting a prescription for 3 months till the pain
Correct.
goes away. For a certain medication.
it.
You know
Which
that.
one was approved?
That's
recently.
the next
That's
thing.
where
We
you're
might
next
as well
moving
bring that
into.
up. Right.
That's right.
Yeah, Oklahoma's program is good because they let grow rights, and they also have pretty large possession limits. So they made a decent program. But right, Lou, another big thing, and Kebra, you didn't look too happy about the FDA approving Epidiolex for
No.
epileptic seizures. It's a CBD first ever cannabis-based drug that they're not using synthetics. It is
No.
actually
oh, wait.
using.
Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
That's what I'm
it's
happy
actually
about.
okay.
Yeah, that's
it is
the one.
actually
just
using.
Friday.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it is
I-
actually using CBD in it.
Yes.
Yeah. from the actual extract. And
Yeah,
that was pretty
that
important
I'm
for that to
actually-
happen.
Yeah.
It was GW Pharmaceuticals out of England, and they seem to be an ethical
They are
company because they're in
publicly
England.
traded.
They're in England,
They are publicly traded.
right? American companies would rather work on synthetic cannabinoids
right.
than actually deal with the real plant.
Yes. And
We can get into that if you want,
yeah,
but
yeah, a little bit. Let's do it.
well, let's
So-
talk about first. What does this mean for the business?
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Can I? Oh,
you
oh,
first.
oh,
is-
oh,
Go
that
ahead.
is
I know
you.
the
That
answer.
is you.
You got the answer.
This means that they are agreeing
Correct.
that the cannabinoids have medicinal value. So then it must be descheduled.
By
That's
the
right.
DEA,
Yes.
right? Because they're two
Do I get a
government
prize? Do I get a
agencies.
prize?
Yeah, they're two government agencies. They can't have
I got
conflicting
something for you
policies.
after.
So once the FDA says it's medicinal, then
Mm-hmm.
the DEA has to follow suit because they're
That's
two
right.
government agencies. They gotta have the same, basic policy.
I mean,
Or at
I
least
mean,
bring
there
it-
is a
yeah.
patent that says it's
Correct.
medicinal
yes.
too. That's
so
been around
now they're
forever.
just
So
Right.
proving it.
So
Yeah.
bare minimum, they would have to lower the schedule because they would have to bring it in line with the rest of the medical programs that they have deemed fit. So they
Right.
would have to at least bare minimum bring it to a Schedule 2.
Right, because this is not the
Right.
first drug they plan on developing
Not
from
at all.
cannabinoids. This is just the first one they got approved because of the seizures and everything. But they are developing other cannabis-based drugs, and I think this is going to force the DEA's hand to either you don't really want them putting it on Schedule 2.
No.
Because
Don't
that
get me
just
wrong.
puts it in the hands of drug makers
Correct.
and researchers. You really want them to
I want them to
deschedule it.
completely deschedule it.
Deschedulization.
Correct.
Right. So this
But,
is a good
you know,
move towards that.
There's I always hope for the outward, but I call it the most reasonable side of it because you do have to look at it as a business some way, somehow. Creating a CBD, that's the standard now. That is the standard.
And that
So
was part
now-
of what the FDA said, why they approved it.
Right.
They said, we want to start making sure that the CBD products that are out there
Right.
are pure and tested and come from a good source. So in a way, they threw a little dig at the
At the current
Existing,
CBD.
at the current CBD business. I didn't like that, but I do like the effect it will have on the law and
Right.
rescheduling
I
CBD.
mean, and then the cannabis industry is not any different than any other industry. You know, we have our rotten eggs and
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
sour fruits, like Patty
Yeah.
Permit.
yeah, Patty Permit, right? She
You
was
know,
Women Grow
it-
market leader, right?
No.
No? Okay,
no.
good.
She spoke like at a couple of women
Oh,
grow
okay.
things once upon a time, but I was just saying I wasn't even going to talk about that because
Yeah.
that it
Yeah,
was
let's
totally
go away
not,
from that,
not
yeah.
connected. But I was going to talk about the fact that she worked in the cannabis
Right.
industry,
Yeah.
period, and she was doing things that were
She was a player in the
racist.
cannabis industry.
Yeah, she owns a business,
A big one,
that
yeah.
We,
Yeah,
will,
yeah,
we
yeah.
shall not name. It
No,
doesn't
I don't
matter.
even know.
No shade,
I
no shade, no shade,
erased
no
the
shade.
name.
You know, so the same thing with CBD companies.
Correct.
You know, there are some that are out there that aren't the efficacy that
Oh.
they're claiming doesn't exist.
Yep.
They're not utilizing the
And
product.
you can find them at every gas station, in
Yeah.
all honesty.
And a lot of
Exactly.
head
they're being
shops lately.
They're being
Exactly.
distributed by the tobacco companies.
Right.
So it's not even a cannabis-derived product, really.
Half the time they're being
You know,
distributed by candy companies.
Candy
you know
companies,
what I mean?
by health food, by a lot through the same purveyors that do tobacco. So sundries and tobaccos, when you
Yeah.
place that contract, you can place all the orders, and now CBD became a brand new staple on it. Don't get me wrong, I'm working. You know, we doing our thing to hopefully have our own in the gas station, but this is where the FDA approval on that new medical CBD versus what's going to be over the counter, because you can get a stronger Motrin through the pharmacist and then get a lower dose Motrin over the counter. So now it creates that over the counter marketplace as well
So
as
does the medical industry,
Exactly.
Because you can
So-
get strong CBD medicine from your dispensary as well. It's just not
Correct.
called Epidiolex.
right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right.
straight up CBD.
Yeah.
Right, and I agree with you, Lou. The whole thing of the gas station mentality with those, those CBD gummies and those CBD products that you see at any gas station or 7-Eleven, they don't really work. They're marketing it as to kids almost. They're marketing it as a way to get high. And I think the difference is the stuff that we, being in the cannabis industry, those people aren't in
Right.
the cannabis
No,
industry.
not at all. They're not.
We will
They
know
don't
the
know.
quality. We're going to test the quality. We're only
Correct.
going to get behind products
right. That
that
lab
are high
testing.
quality. And I think that's where it's got to come it's got to be that way.
Well, my question is, does Kebra approve it? She's our medical person. So if Kebra's behind it,
Oh, no,
I usually
think it's
jump
a
behind it
step
too.
in the right direction
Exactly.
for sure. And I do, because people always say, where could I go get some CBD? What do you
Right.
suggest? And I am a little hesitant sometimes because even some of my, not anyone in this room, but even some of my friends who are
Right.
associated with CBD, I don't know.
Exactly. You know?
And so I don't want to send someone who's already compromised in some kind of way, usually financially strained because of the compromise, to buy something that's not effective.
Right.
So this will be a way to kind of standardize.
And
I
it
just-
legitimizes it in
and
the people's
legitimize,
eyes.
yes,
It'll give a
exactly.
regular doctor, the ability to prescribe this.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
And
So
it takes
not-
it out of the medical program.
And Rite Aid already said they'd carry it.
And will it be covered by insurance?
That's
That's a
That is the
because
question.
because you won't
should
have
be.
it
It should be.
because
It's
you
a
don't have to
regular
get a
drug.
medical license to use this now.
Now then people will need to, insurance companies will have to add it to their formulary more than likely,
Right.
because it's
Right.
going to be a brand name
Right.
until some generic forms are, so
And that's
that'll
gonna
probably
take time.
be the issue.
It'll take 10 years
Right.
before there's a generic version of
Yeah.
it just because of licensing.
Right.
Patents,
They
yeah.
hold that patent for 10 years. So
Wow.
before there's an actual generic form of medicine, it's going to be 10 years.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
gives them the marketplace for such a
Well,
before you
GW has captured.
it's
they
amazing.
they've
you know?
taken the cannabis, and really taken
by
it.
the
Yeah.
cojones
Yeah,
there.
by the cojones, I didn't wanna say
I
it.
think maybe the disappointment you saw in my face was that it is a pharmaceutical,
Oh,
a big
yes,
pharma
100%.
company.
Yeah.
It's
that
big
was probably
pharma.
my only disappointment, but we are gonna have to work together,
Yeah.
with the
And this
$1 billion
trickles down.
companies as well as the small businesses. There's room in this industry for everyone, just as long as we don't allow one faction
Right.
to take over
Right.
the entire.
So now my
Right.
question to you, Kebra, because you are, you're the CEO of Canna Health, you have your medical practice, and you have. So now the same way, say you brought on a doctor that wanted to prescribe this medicine, not talking today or tomorrow, but once it's readily available throughout the states, your practice would be able to now prescribe this medicine.
Yeah, I think it would be great for
Yeah.
the kids, especially
Nice.
with epilepsy.
So that'd be
and-
another avenue so people can come see you ultimately.
Mhm.
You know?
And then also it would be covered by insurance, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, I'm very concerned about cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you keep inside our community, and that's one thing
Yeah.
we really appreciate about you and your practice.
Thank you. Yeah, and actually, was there something else we had to talk about?
yeah, we
before
gotta
the
keep
deer
going
call?
down. We're-
No,
we
because I
just
was about
talking.
to start talking about Canna Health's grand reopening. So, but we
We
could
could talk about that too.
we're gonna talk about that a couple times.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a couple times. I did want to talk about Canada
Okay.
because
Oh,
since our last show,
Canada and Vermont.
Canada,
And
Vermont,
come on.
and Mass,
Yes.
actually, all of
yes,
them.
over my
Yeah, legalized. July 1st was Vermont and Massachusetts' first official day of legalization.
Woo,
Although there were no
congratulations,
stores
sister
open
state.
in Mass. But congratulations to our neighbors.
Yes.
And I will admit I'm a little jealous, but down here in Connecticut, it's starting to feel like no man's land. We're down here.
We're the
Hey!
only state without grow rights.
We're still
We're
the
the
only
New
state
England state
without grow
Yep,
rights. Just
patient
think
grow
about
rights.
that. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They wonder why a lot of marijuana patients are leaving.
Yeah.
So anyway, congrats to
Canada
them.
refugees.
Canada refugees, and then Canada, the second country ever, and we're talking a big
Canada.
player country. You're-
Drake is from Canada.
yeah, a lot of people are.
Let me not give
you
my
wanna know the
opinion
truth?
about Drake.
I'm just saying, he's from Canada.
I am too.
Joe is from Canada.
Do you want to know LaChance? Of course.
yeah.
My
Joe,
grandfather
Fred from the
came
north.
down here from Canada. I am looking into getting dual citizenship.
I know that's
You
right.
shall-
My
What?
grandfather was born in Canada before 1940.
Get
and
it.
apparently there is some rule that if you had a grandparent who was naturally born in Canada before 1940, you are eligible
Yes,
for
you are.
citizenship.
You better apply.
Yes.
I
you are.
am
Then
because
we can get married and adopt Lou, and then we
We
all
all get
be
dual
citizens.
citizenship.
so I am definitely looking into that. But these are advantages
Canada
because
refugees.
yeah, we might be Canada refugees because I mean the whole country legalized. That's 13 provinces. They all legalized it
huge.
once. They said they're going to be up and operating by October 13th. I
know
said.
that. My birthday.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
let's-
October 13th. It's October 12th. But
But we're
basically,
going
it's
Well,
to
we'll
the
go
same
up there and
thing.
celebrate.
Yeah.
Let's
That's right.
let's
It's
take a
only a
ride up
ride.
to Canada.
It's
Yeah.
only a ride. It's less than 8 hours, guys.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
Trump,
We can
Trump
Uber
gets
it.
in a war with them. Let's get up there and get some,
Yeah.
enjoy their legal week because it's. I think their rules. Every province has different rules.
Right.
So some of them have grow rights, some of them don't. Some of them the age is 18, some of them the age is 19.
But you know what? We could drive up there and,
And
take
then
the entire
try 'em
legal
all.
right.
Yeah, try
we could
'em
take the
all.
entire legal
We're
right.
all old
We
enough.
can videotape this and be like,
Yeah.
you know, our,
We'll hit
our trip to
Massachusetts.
Canada.
Canada,
We'll hit
yeah.
Vermont.
On
We'll
the
go
way
right
up,
We'll
yeah.
hit all
Maine,
the legal states.
Maine.
Yeah.
All the legal states all the way up. So if you have a farm and
Yeah.
you want to invite us down, Cannabis Corner will talk at your farm.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, but yeah, so Canada, that's a huge deal. And then just the last thing I wanted to talk about was the hemp bill passing. And now we talk about CBD.
Yes.
The Senate passed a bill
Yes, sir.
legalizing industrial hemp.
Yes, sir.
Ain't that
And
something?
every bit of the plant.
Yeah.
So there was a senator named Grassley, I think his name
Yeah.
was, who wanted to include an amendment in there that said legalize industrial hemp, everything but cannabidiol.
Right. The extract.
Right. But the other senators said, no, we're leaving it in.
Yep.
So this is a big step because if this bill passes the Senate, and I think the only next step is that it has to go back to the House for a little bit of revisions because they have to join the two bills and rectify any differences between the two of them. Once it goes through that process, it's going right to Trump's desk for a signing. So we're talking between the FDA approving that CBD drug and then the Congress legalizing hemp and hemp-derived CBD. You know, those are really two good things for the industry.
It must be affecting somebody's pocket.
Yeah, of course.
This is
of
what they want.
course. Mitch
Oh wait, we got people talking too.
Oh,
I
we
can't,
got
I can't
stuff.
see
What's
that
going-
far.
Oh, I got sunglasses on.
Yeah,
I
me
know.
too.
No. Oh yeah, I can't
see,
read it.
even with my sunglasses.
What
All right,
they
let's get
saying?
something there. Hold up. I gotta actually
wait.
see it now.
I need to put my sunglasses on.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Brian, yeah, put your sunglasses on. We cool
Yeah,
today.
Kenny, we know that.
Yeah,
That's
we
why
had
we
the
don't want
conversation,
Schedule
Kenny.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want
I
Schedule
got
2.
corrected. It's all right.
We don't want Schedule 2
Wait, put
either. We
these
said
back
that
on.
would put it in the hands of the researchers
Yeah, they
and
put these
the
back on.
medical industry.
My eyes look really low for some
So,
reason.
yeah, now we want it descheduled. We want cannabis descheduled.
Yeah, we want to be able to have our grow rights.
Yeah.
And even as patient grow rights, that's the hugest thing for me. And for
Yeah, and let's
most
talk a
of
little
us,
bit
I
about
think
the medical program
know,
here in Connecticut.
we don't have grow rights. And ultimately, if we had grow rights, I truly believe our program would be okay because I love the medical marketplace of it because the baby boomers do enjoy having the opportunity to be someplace quote unquote legal. If we went the opposite route,
What are you talking about, them baby boomers?
well, let's look at it this way. Everybody loves Massachusetts rights as we go. But can you walk into a medical dispensary right now in Massachusetts, readily available ultimately?
Rec, no, not rec.
Right. But even the medicinal marketplace up there, you know what I mean? Can you walk in as somebody who's unfamiliar with cannabis and get the right information? Usually you have to go seek it.
True.
And
Maybe by now they've evolved. I know
I believe they have
Connecticut
completely.
has evolved since
Connecticut
it started.
has evolved since the start. So there are those positions like Christina who will be your patient advocate, but they're not readily available all the time. If we went legal and the market, and I believe the way that Connecticut is looking to do it, it's going to be big business. Because if you're not giving grow rights
That's
to your
my
medical,
issue.
if you're not giving grow rights to your medical patients, then you're not going to really look to give that to, your recreational
I agree with
patients.
you.
So now when you start looking at the grow rights and the city,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
What
ahead.
happened?
No, go.
and then the state is saying, asking the Department of Consumer Protection about should they give grow rights or not. It's not the DCP's prerogative to give grow rights because
It's
then
the
they would lose
legislator.
they would lose their patient base. You know, that's what they're like, oh, if you give home rights,
They're so, that's
It's
the
not gonna-
problem with them. They
there's a
don't
thought.
realize how many people would actually grow.
but the Department of Consumer Protection shouldn't even oversee the idea of grow rights because you're not purchasing cannabis, you're growing it. Now it would be under a completely
Yeah,
different
you're not
act.
Agriculture.
protecting any
It should be under
consumer.
There's no
agriculture or
They're-
something.
consumer
you're
protective.
Yeah, when you grow your own.
You know what I
Brian
mean?
said they just approved the first retail license about an hour ago.
Yeah, in
cultivate,
mass.
and it
Okay.
was cultivate.
Okay.
In mass, yes. See, that's how behind they are on the process.
Wait.
Right.
I'm looking at myself on video, just push the microphone closer to me. That was
So-
funny.
Yeah, Cultivate
So-
was the first license. It was put out there, and
so-
but they're not open today. You
No,
know?
no, you could have drove. You know, everybody thought, oh, July 1st, let's drive up to Mass and take a ride. Good luck finding recreational
think
cannabis
that.
in Massachusetts.
I didn't even think about that.
But you know,
Well,
so
you could have it delivered.
back to Connecticut and grow rights. There is a reason we don't have grow rights, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. It is because the cultivation facilities here in Connecticut want to maintain a monopoly,
Yeah.
and the dispensaries don't want to lose business. Let's be real about it.
It's
From the
everybody's
start,
scared.
grow rights. We know people who are in on the medical marijuana thing getting put in the first place, and they had grow rights in the initial bill, and from the start, it became a non-starter with the grow facilities. And we have to recognize that here in Connecticut, we are under a monopoly that does not want to let go. They have already told the legislator that if they approve legalization, they are ready to be the suppliers for rec.
And I don't even think that's true.
No, it's not true because they can, but they'll say that because they want to keep their monopoly.
Yeah.
That is part of the reason we do not have recreational cannabis. I don't know if you guys know, but the growers have gotten together. They have a lobbyist,
Oh, yeah.
and she's a killer. And she goes in there fighting against legalization. And if they
Telling you.
want legalization, she's fighting for them to have it.
God willing, and the creek don't rise, I'm gonna have some money to be able to get us a killer
lobbyist for this
You know who I
session.
want to get? Becky. I want to get Becky
Becky
back.
to get what she needs work right now.
Yeah.
Maybe get her to move up here.
Yeah.
Ah, we do have a call. We've been awaiting this call for a
Yeah.
while.
Okay. You know who I
Session.
want to get? Becky.
Oh,
I
wait.
want to get Becky back.
There she is, that matrix. Right now.
Yeah.
Maybe get her to move up here.
Yeah.
Ah, we do have a call.
It's
We've
like-
been awaiting this call for a while.
Okay.
Why are we hearing that?
Becky.
Oh, wait. There she is, that matrix. Right now. Maybe get her to move up here. Ah,
Hey, we are in the
we've been awaiting
Matrix.
this call for a while.
Okay.
Why are we hearing? What's going on here, bro?
Okay. There we go.
Hello?
Nadir.
Hello?
Uh-oh, did we lose him?
I think we lost him.
Okay.
Are we still on the?
He probably hung up because it was weird.
It says there.
Yeah, well, it's getting weird. Tell him to call back. It started to really get funky.
Okay.
That's
The glitch in the matrix.
It's all right.
So anyway, that's the real deal here. Is the monopoly we're under.
Ring, ring.
Is it ringing?
ring.
All right, let's pick it up.
Hello.
Hello, Nadir.
How y'all doing?
How's it going,
Hi.
sir?
Good, Nadir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Just home on the daily grind.
All right,
No,
listen.
that's right.
Oh yeah, well we're all on that grind. We love
We
it
gotta
though.
pay them bills right now. Thank you for joining us, Nadir.
Before
And
we get into our interview with you, I'm just going to
There you
do a
go.
little station ID here. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook Live. Just go to facebook.com, New Haven Independent, or go to your Facebook page and look us up. Yes, Lou?
And since our topic is millennials and cannabis, you can actually find this on all the other social platforms. So you can catch this on a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Kebra streaming from her phone. We have streaming services going out through Twitch. What other? YouTube, Twitch,
SoundCloud, all that.
SoundCloud, everything.
Twitter,
We
Twitter.
everywhere.
And so
Periscope.
if you use it, do it. Periscope,
Right.
we on
all
it. You can
of
get it
them.
on your PlayStation if you want.
We're
We are everywhere. Similar
we're
to
even
the
on
art-
Tinder. No, go ahead.
Nadir, would you do you appreciate that we're everywhere, right? We're on all social
All right.
platforms.
Because we're
Kebra.
similar to Nadir. He's everywhere.
It's time
Everywhere.
for Kebra's famous introduction of our
Yes.
guest
Okay.
and the story.
She's got a
Nadir,
story.
we're going to let
Let's see.
Kebra introduce you
Let's
today, and then you
I'm
can tell
trying
us
to
a little
think
bit
which
about
story
yourself.
I want to tell about Nadir. Let's
I met Nadir ages ago
Well,
when he
okay,
handed
you
me
tell a story.
when he handed me a piece of paper and looked at me and said, "Nothing stops the grind." And I said, "You're right." He goes, "My business cards didn't come in today." I said, "That's all right." He goes, "But I made sure I had something to hand you."
I know that's
I
right.
said that showed me that you were a persistent, educated, understanding young man who knows where he wants to go. And ever since that day, it's been about 2 years since you started college. Ultimately, you've grown your program exponentially. I've met you at many conferences. I've seen you all out throughout the country. I've had the pleasure of working beside him on a couple things. He's holding down the undergraduates and postgrads. I'm very proud of him. And Kebra's met him many times as well. So
I just run into him everywhere. That was a great introduction.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. Lou, I'm gonna tell you, you took away Keeper's job right
No,
there.
that's okay.
no, I stayed quiet. No, I had a sativa
No,
today.
I know that's
Well, so did I. Got to.
So on LinkedIn, it says that you're currently the lead social media strategist for Brown University's Snapchat and Instagram stories. You're the founder and president of SMART, Student Marijuana Alliance for Research and Transparency, the first cannabis community at Brown with the mission to educate millennials on the benefits of cannabis and bridge the gap for students into the cannabis industry. In addition, you're in media and sales as an intern with Ardent Cannabis, a biotech company based in Boston. And I've seen you on several projects with MJM Strategies, with Women Grow, with doing a bunch of stuff. So, Nadir, welcome to Cannabis Corner.
Thank you, yes.
Tell us a little bit about Smart, Nadir.
Yeah, well, how about you? Start with you first. What's up with you? Where you come from? How'd you get into this?
For sure. Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having me. You know, it's always a pleasure to be able to, share this platform that we're creating for one another, and that's really been the biggest thing, is just being able to reach people and spread these lovely messages. But, as far as myself is concerned, I'm from Clifton, New Jersey originally. Obviously growing up here, very diverse area, just being able to, not really experience cannabis too much. Growing up was really just focused on, sports and academics like most young children. But as I got to high school, I eventually went to a boarding school in Connecticut. So that really started to open my mind up to the world and being able
you go to
go to school with people who were a lot more privileged than myself.
What boarding school?
Also, I went to Taft in Connecticut.
Taft.
I was like, did you go
yeah.
to Choate? I was
No,
like,
my daughter went to Choate.
We got a lot of friends in a lot of places.
I'll say, I'm sorry. We
Go ahead.
interrupted
I'm sorry.
your
We're
story.
sorry. We love you.
Yeah, no, sure. But, Connecticut was, obviously moving away from home pretty early. Like I said, grew to be very independent and was, starting to discover cannabis but couldn't really talk about it because I was still trying to go to college, right? And then by the time I, entered my freshman year at Brown University playing football there, really, had to make the decision to not continue doing that due to a number of concussions that I suffered. So that really, at that point in time was where I had to make the decision and say, okay, now I really have so much free time, and I was always that person that said, oh, if I wasn't playing football, I swear I'd be doing so much, and now it was time to actually prove my worth. And really had to, discover what I was good at. And I always felt like I could speak to people, communicate, and I really just wanted to get my message out there like I explained to y'all earlier, and decided to pursue that with cannabis, right? Just because, one, I had already been learning on my own time what it can do for the world as far as hemp and cannabis is concerned, realizing that, smoking, oh, wait, this is actually better for me than the legal drugs that are out there. And learning that at such a young age, it was a no-brainer, and I was very surprised to see our society being in a very almost oxymoronic state where we have a federal law that says there's no medical benefit, but then we have a state with medical cannabis laws. So I was like, okay, something's going to change. And I realized that cannabis was going to grow more, and I wanted to be a part of that and pioneer that for young people as well. So as I started in events, I didn't see people my age. I saw people like our host here today who are also, still pretty young, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're not old.
I'm a PYT. I think that makes me sound old.
Exactly, but we getting there. And I'm getting there too myself now. But I know there's another generation that needs to be involved in this. And I wanted to bring the young people that I go to school with, that I've been growing up with, them to bring them in. So that's what I started Smart.
Okay. Wow. And I was just at the Cannabis Convention in Washington, D.C. And tell us about that, because you got a little special something that happened there.
Yeah, so at the National Cannabis Festival this year, we Smart actually did win the startup competition there. So we got $1,000 for that, and I'm really just putting that towards right now formalizing our entity. Because we are reaching out to other schools,
Wow.
in Illinois, And so right now it's
You're
just kind
going
of-
far away. Can you? I don't know if it's us. We're trying to turn you up, but I don't know if people could hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you
much
go,
better.
much better.
Yes,
Okay, sorry about that.
that's okay.
But like I said, yeah, no, we're just formalizing what we need to do, deciding if we need to go to an LLC, a nonprofit, those things that you kind of learn along the way, as well as making sure that we can get our web platform up by hopefully, by the fall.
So Nadir, with where you're saying you're looking to expand, please make sure you reach out to us as the school year begins, because with I'm in a fraternity, so I have a bunch of undergraduate brothers all the time asking me to how can they get involved in the undergraduate level, and I would love for them to help you start some chapters there, or whatever you need from them. You know what I mean? Get you all
Certainly,
over
that'd be
Connecticut.
awesome. That's what it's about. Showing everybody right here is like that network is what we're gonna need to be able to connect everybody and bring opportunities and value.
So you hear that, guys? If you're an undergraduate and you're listening and you want to get involved, please, Nadir's going to make sure he gets all his contact information out. Contact him. He will be there for you.
And so,
Exactly.
Nadir, what
No,
are you doing?
100%.
Yes. What are you doing now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, right now it's summertime, so like I said, it's really trying to find a way to get all the different people we have in our organization, get them communicating, getting them working on different projects. Right now, what I want to do for SMART more so, I think, is really pushing for responsible consumption.
Okay.
I think that's something that in all schools that we could all go behind, regardless if the school want to support research right away. I think being able to teach students how to consume responsibly is something that they do with alcohol, and it's something that we should be able to do with cannabis, since we know it's so prevalent for our youth and growing up in that coming of age culture.
Do you have a presentation ready that if an organization wanted you to come out, they can contact you as well and have you come out and do that presentation?
Oh, as long as they give me a week in advance, I definitely have something for you.
Look at that. Whoa, I love you, bro. That's why I love you're a man of action.
So right
Yo,
now, Nadir,
y'all know this. That's why y'all brought me on here.
right on.
So, what can you tell me? So we do have campus programs like SSDP.
Right.
How does SSDP, or how do you differ from SSDP? Like, what are the differences in your organization?
Totally. Yeah, right now, having worked in the industry, I think everybody can realize that SSDP is something that you can meet a whole bunch of different places, and a lot of professionals have had experiences in SSDP. However, in the last 10, 15 years or so, that's really been waning, especially in colleges, especially with SMART being very focused on cannabis.
Okay.
Very focused.
So the difference you would say is an SSDP focuses on a sensible drug policy for all drugs. And it's focused on more lobbying versus where SMART is focusing more on the entrepreneurial side on cannabis as a whole. You're not really looking to go delve into any of the other substances too much, but focus on the entrepreneurial, the policy of cannabis.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Right. And I knew that, but I wanted you to.
Now,
there's so much work to be done for cannabis right now.
Yes. How many campuses are you on right now, and how many, how can we help? How would you like to expand to other campuses?
Yeah, so right now we have 2 official other chapters. One, Northern Michigan University, which has the first weed degree. They have a medicinal plant chemistry degree.
Okay.
Nice.
First of its kind. So we have a chapter there, as well as in Southern Illinois.
Okay.
Right now, for us, the best way to do that is to reach us on social media, right? That's always the easiest way. We have on all our social at Student MMJ Alliance. You can find a sign-up link, and you can easily get in contact with me.
So now,
or somebody else in our organization that, depending on where you are located.
And I hooked you up with Chance out here. And is there any talk of bringing something to Connecticut?
Oh, definitely. There's definitely talks. However, Chance is, he's actually figuring out his school situation right now.
Okay.
Exactly. So while he's figuring that out, wherever he goes, we're sure that he's going to bring SMART with him.
Okay,
Beautiful.
nice.
And I'm an alumni of the University of New Haven. We'll make that happen.
I just got back from Harvard Business School. I did a summer venture management 1-week program there, and was able to really connect with a whole bunch of different students who are very, very driven, especially at Yale, especially at other schools, and especially as the laws happening, and just the federal hemp bill just got voted in, and that gets a lot of people going, and my phone starts going off from people who don't even would think that would be involved in cannabis, but now it's getting a little green crowded over here in the cannabis room.
Nadir, I wanted to ask you a question. We were kind of going to go into like millennials in the cannabis industry and how does somebody of your age group get into the cannabis industry. But what I wanted to ask you was, with all the different issues that people of your age group have to face these days, and many of them are choosing their issues to pick, how do you find that the interest in becoming cannabis activists and advocates, how do you find that, let's say, their interest differs from, their interest in the gun control issue or some of these immigration issues and gay rights? Because right now, your age group, and I don't even like to use that millennial term. To me, it's I don't know. It's kind of divisive. Millennial, baby boomer, Gen X, whatever.
Hey, I don't take it personal.
It's just I'll just say your age group, college age, whatever you want to call it. How do you get them interested in cannabis as their as
a
platform for them? Because there's so many platforms they could choose from.
They met their Uncle Lou.
Because us old guys, us older people, we're going to have to, pass the torch on. And we want to make sure that, this generation here up and coming is as passionate and interested about making cannabis legal and getting cannabis back to its rightful place as, the previous generations were. And right now, it's just that you guys have so much to deal with. It's like, how do you get them interested in weed?
Yeah, well, I think the one thing is weed is booming more than anything else right now. I think it's top 1-2 industries, for growth. So that in its own right, but also what you mentioned, like gay rights, different minority groups, etc. All these groups use cannabis.
That's right.
This is crosses cultures. This is, we're only talking about the United States right now because the United States has been the country to have such a unique and strict law on prohibition that's kind of made the whole world react in that sense. But now that the U.S. is letting up, being able to start opening up, and because the U.S. is such also a global player for this actually to really discuss the cultural changes and also the impact that cannabis has for each and every group, right? Because you got to think, Mexican immigrants suffered the literal word marijuana, right?
Right.
It's been a racial propagandic word.
From the start.
And almost every group has suffered some type of, their persecution has tied in at some point in history. So for people to be able to lock that and for us to be able to start to educate them on it is one way that we've been able to do this. And people are starting to find their own ties to cannabis. And now it's just about showing them that whatever you want to do, this really can work for that and make this a better world at the same time.
Right.
Amen.
That's great. Great answer. Right. It is. It becomes a unifying factor. It's the one common thread that almost all of these groups have in common is we all probably use cannabis or have at one point.
And we all can't drink alcohol and be in the same room, but I feel like we can all smoke some weed.
Absolutely.
Can't we all just get a bomb?
Absolutely.
About it.
So tell us about some of the companies. I know I mentioned that you intern with Ardent, and I know you're. Can you tell us a little bit about that and some of the other companies that you are affiliated with?
Yeah, I mean, right now, Ardent, I've been working with Ardent for 2 years, so it's like the most extended internship program we've ever been a part of.
And the coolest, one of the coolest ones I know.
Yeah, and they've been a long time, one of the first established companies.
Exactly, 100%. I really got lucky finding Ardent, just being hungry for a search, on Indeed. That's how I found Ardent, just cannabis company seeks intern.
Wow.
And that's just like, me being like extroverted and outgoing and going, not waiting for the opportunity, right? Because that's what people are, they think that's it's going to happen, and it's not. But working with Ardent has given me a really good base to join cannabis because I've been able to go from sales, speaking at conventions and selling customers face to face, to also doing, media content with them, to going to, California and just handling all the different operations, at Cannabis Cups when we have a booth there, etc. So that's been giving me a great base. But now I've been really trying to pivot into journalism.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I wrote an article for Mary Jane talking about why student innovation is important for legal cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the type of stuff that I've been getting into, writing for Leafly as well. And I have something coming out within the week for entrepreneur.com.
All right. And let's not forget that you were listed. Tell us about your list, your big listing that you had recently in Forbes.
Which one?
In Forbes.
Oh, yeah, that was in November. I was selected as a Forbes under 30 scholar. So we went to Boston, and there was an event there, a few different conferences, and just like I said, being able to connect, build a network, and also represent cannabis at the same time, because even in, the Forbes under 30 selection,
Mm-hmm.
and then also my Harvard Business School opportunity
Mm-hmm.
this past week,
Mm-hmm.
both of those things, I was very open and honest about my cannabis, not really just use, but more so my work in the industry and how
Right.
I'm able to change the stigma and use my privilege as an Ivy League student, but then also as a black male to speak on this issue and, hopefully get people to change how they feel.
Nice.
Talk a little more about that Ivy League.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that Ivy
because I
League.
saw something that you posted a while ago.
That's
so.
what you are, an Ivy League student, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually, he so graciously invited myself and Tashonda Vincent Lee to come speak at Brown
Yes.
a few months ago,
Yep.
and I thank you for that
That was
opportunity.
awesome.
You
That
know,
was
I'm not an Ivy League student, so for me to come and speak at an Ivy League school
Well,
was
we live
pretty,
near Yale, though.
I know. We could claim Yale. But talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, what's that like? None of us know.
Yeah, well, I think, one, I always like to tell people Ivy League, the hardest part is getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're there, you'll realize that a lot of people work just as hard as anybody at almost any other school.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, some people there truly are a little bit more gifted. I can't stunt. But like I said, I think for the most part, that's at almost any school. There's always people who are doing a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to say that to humble people and realize that, we're all at the same level in reality. But
Right.
going to an Ivy League, like I said, does have the eyebrow-raising effect.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's real. And that's, when I was coming out of high school, I was playing football, but I was always looking for the best academic opportunity possible.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got the opportunity to go to Brown, I realized that, one, this was the best school for me, especially in my endeavors in cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
because of how liberal Brown is and how friendly we are with cannabis on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's something, administration can't really, promote per se, but it's just something that you kind of learn and are ingrained in once you take, you're there for a few years.
Right.
But really, it's allowed me to, one, use that privilege, right, and say,
Mhm.
hey, at an Ivy League school, they want to talk about weed. And there's no way that people can think about an Ivy League school and the intelligence and the hard work that is associated with that, and then rub that against their negative stereotypes on cannabis
Mm-hmm.
about a lazy person, and then those two ideas don't go together in their head, and there's a cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Right. People don't usually associate that.
And talk a little bit about your what you just spoke about, Brown's liberal rules, because maybe other colleges are looking to implement, a program where they're not criminalizing or disciplining students for cannabis. So what kind of setup do you have unofficially at Brown?
Yeah, well, Brown one is very open. So I've been able to contact our folks who run our health and wellness department and
Mhm.
really get to sit at the table and speak with them and say, hey, this is what you need to know about cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't know, and they're also willing to say that they don't know and have you come in and tell them.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there was a really good sign to be able to work with Brown. And what Brown is, as far as our health is concerned, we're a harm reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what that means is that you're not going to be a preventative. You're not going to say, don't do this. You're going to say, if you choose to do this, then this is what you should do to
Right.
be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's about education.
And that's something that, my mother has kind of raised me on, and we didn't call it harm reduction, right? Because as a parent, as an authority figure, you can only control people so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're doing something like cannabis that we've seen, the rates is, anything, just say no, dare, none of that has worked. so. At this point, we have to just educate people and say, as you grow older, as you learn to make your own decisions, we hope that you take these safe rules along with you.
Right.
And so that's really the policy that Brown has implemented on a range of drugs. That's just not just cannabis, on almost all types of drugs, to the extent where on our spring weekend, when everybody's having a great old time, we have artists, concerts, etc. They have purity testing, so you can go get your cocaine tested and make sure.
Oh God!
Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is a liberal
liberal.
policy. Damn.
Wow.
That's stuff that happens, but that's gonna. How many students do you think will be saved once they go and they realize that, wow, this actually wasn't just cocaine. This was
It had fentanyl in it or something.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
As a parent, would you rather know that your child didn't do that, or you know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a harm reduction. That's what it's not. We're not going to stop everything.
Right.
Like I said, if you're going to choose to make that decision, we want to help people be as safe as possible.
Right.
All right. So listen, Nadir, how does people get in touch with you? We got to wrap this up. And
well, hey, thank y'all so much on Cannabis Corner. I really appreciate y'all. Get in contact with me at Ponyboy Pearson, right? Ponyboy, just like it sounds. Pearson, pear like the fruit. Son, like I'm your child. And from there, you can, that's a portal to everything about me, about my life, and an easy way to get in contact with me.
All right.
Well, I love you, Nadir, and I'm so proud of all that you're doing out here. And so keep up the good work. If you ever need anything from us, support, you want to come back on, you're always welcomed.
Let us know. And we hopefully will see you July 5th at the Canna Health grand opening.
Oh, yeah. That would be nice.
And that's what we're going to segue into right now.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Nadir.
Thank you, sir.
Kebra, Lou, Joe, bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye.
So, Kebra, we got a few minutes left at the end of the show.
Yes.
We got a big thing. First of all, Canna Health, your company, our company, we've all been working together on it.
Yes.
Started a year ago, right? You had a 1 year anniversary just recently.
Yes, July 1st. It was our 1 year anniversary. And so this week, we are having our grand reopening in our new offices on 178 Temple Street. Suite 33.
Right around the corner?
Right
we could
around
walk
the corner.
from here?
Yep. But it's too dang hot. I took an Uber.
Oh, yeah. No, I hear you.
But in the future, I'll be able to walk there. But we're having a grand reopening ceremony that starts at 1:30 with a ribbon cutting at 2 p.m. Mayor Tony Harp is going to cut the ribbon. Senator Doug McCrory will have words. State Senator Doug McCrory.
I like him.
And I'm waiting to hear, but I think I pretty much got it confirmed that Senator Tony Walker will be in attendance as well to have words. And Jason Ortiz, the Vice President of Minority Cannabis Business Association, he will also be on deck to say a couple of words about the fact that, I am the majority owner in Canna Health, and we are the first Black-owned business in the cannabis industry in Connecticut. So,
all right.
Thank you. And so just to use Canna Health as an example for people of color, that there is a place for them in this industry, and that it doesn't always have to mean that you're touching the plant, that there are other options. But so that's the one thing. But the second, the most important part is that we're going to be certifying people to obtain their medical marijuana cards. This week, we're going to start doing certifications at 4 p.m. on the grand opening day. So you can come, hang out, eat a little something, and then get your certification. And we're also going to be discounting all certifications 25%. So normally it costs $200. It'll cost $150 if you're able to prove that you are on public assistance, i.e., you have an EBT card, a letter of what you've been granted from SSI or something like that.
Unemployment.
Yep, unemployment. We are discounting your certification to $75.
Wow.
So you're able to get certified for $75. If you're a veteran, it's $100. And we'll even work, most times that will work in conjunction. So it probably will be like $75. But we're doing a sliding scale because we want everyone to be able to access this program and medical marijuana, and to be able to
allow access. You're awesome.
So that's
awesome.
This Thursday, the 5th, right after the holiday. Perfect. A lot of people probably had the day off.
Yes.
I'll
Come
be
down.
there.
Starts at 1:30, between 1:30 and 2. Get there. 2 o'clock's the ribbon cutting.
Yes.
And the address is what?
178 Temple Street, Suite 33.
Ring the buzzer. They'll let you in.
Yep.
And
we'll
then
probably
so-
have the door open that day.
So the first 2 hours is going to be like an open house speaking.
Yes, yes.
And then starting at 4,
Yep.
you're going to start giving out the recommendations till 8, you
Yep,
said?
Yep.
So
And
for-
we'll be doing info sessions simultaneously. So if you just want to learn more about the medical marijuana program, I've also, so we are partners in Cannabis Consultants. And then I've also partnered with MJM Strategy, who's helping
great.
me with branding and marketing. And they've developed, since our partnering accelerator program, so they're helping me accelerate my business so we can expand to other states. So they're going to be on site as well to kind
great.
of talk about what they do in the industry. You guys, I'm sure, will be there.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and and talk about what you are doing in the industry, and so really kind of open up people's minds to
that's
cannabis in a new way.
That's an awesome event, and we can find out about it on Facebook, right? At Canna Health.
And there's also, you can go to, we have a new website.
Right.
You can go to gocannahealth.com and schedule your appointment.
Look at that.
Right online. You can also call us.
And now you're going to be
old-fashioned
doing
way.
it for 3 days in a row, right?
So Thursday the 5th, we'll be doing certifications from 4 to 8 p.m. Friday the 6th, we'll be doing certifications from 4 to 8 p.m. And Saturday the 7th, we'll be doing certifications from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Wow. And that's
So-
right here, downtown New Haven, right in our listening area. If you live in the area, you can walk down there. You can take a bus, an Uber, whatever you want, but it's close, centralized.
25% off for these next 3 days. And then again, that sliding scale. So if you want to come in and get assessed and evaluated for your medical marijuana card and you are on the state, just bring something that we can verify. If we don't have the verification, we
Right.
can't.
But that's just
do
like
that.
your EBT card or
Yep.
whatever, just along with your ID so you know it's you. Right.
Exactly.
Very cool, Kebra.
Yeah.
So excited. So
yeah,
excited.
I'm so excited.
So that's the big event this week.
Yes.
And then after that, we have the support group
Yes.
in Milford. But that's, pretty much
Yeah, y'all have been doing this pretty consistently.
almost a year for the support group.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
very
been
nice.
pretty good.
Yes.
It's very, very good. Now, maybe we'll do one up at the
Office.
new office
Yeah,
at some.
yeah.
We'll find a day to do one up
Yeah.
there maybe at some point.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. I'm looking
very
for it. I
excited,
think
too.
downtown New Haven especially needs more cannabis business and especially a doctor giving out recommendations. I think it's awesome. But guess what? I'm hearing music.
Music.
Harry's kicking us off the air. So we'll see you next week. We're trying to get some cool guests on. Enjoy your holiday, everybody. Don't blow your fingers off with fireworks. Stay away from fireworks. Stick with the green.
Yep.
And we'll all see you next
it.
week. And we'll see you Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
We all want to see
Thursday.
you Thursday.
Grand reopening, 178 Temple Street, Suite 33, Canna Health.
All right.
2 o'clock.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
He got sour, need that whole y'all. I'm chasing turkey bag, I'm chasing gold y'all. Tell us down, we won't go far. Blue sherbet stuff to hold y'all. 100 P's on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic. If I ever run into Riri, let's make magic. Die doing something you love, it ain't tragic. Heard what I said, nigga, it ain't tragic. From the home of lay down, smoking ratchets. Never win when you spell it backwards. I got green in the bay, my whole team Packers. Hold the plug, I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Gucci slides with the G's while I'm selling P's. Walking proof, money growing trees. Hit the plug, he gon' fly the geese. 100 P's, we supply the streets. Gelato cookies and that blue cheese. Your bitch woman, she got blue knees. Call her Arizona, she got a few C's. When I'm in California, plug like what you need. Pounds, pounds, pound, pound, pound. Put the work on the table, my nigga, break it down. Moving that work since Hazel's round. Ask anybody, my niggas run the town. Told the plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. Told the plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G. I told my plug I need 100 P's. Now my shoebox got 100 G.